Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the start for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one first, we're going to give our thoughts on whether or not the TV series will have to tone down the whispers. And this one came in from Paul and Natalie, so I want to say thank you, Paul and Natalie, for watching, and thanks for the question. And if you guys have any other questions, be sure to write them in the comments below so I can add them maybe for another Q&A tomorrow or the next day. Spoiler warning, if you're not caught up for The Walking Dead, which means if you have not seen up to the Season 7 finale as of this time. So really excited to see the Whispers in The Walking Dead Season 8. I can't wait to see how they bring in this really fearsome group, maybe the most fearsome group we've ever had in The Walking Dead, probably even scarier than Negan and the Saviors, even after the Season 7 premiere and the brutality of the double Lucille kill. The Whisperers, you know, done lots of videos on them so far. If you don't know who they are, check the channel. Just type in Whisperers in the search, and you'll find lots of videos on them, on who they are, that kind of thing. And you know, why they're so goddamn cool. So, Paul and Natalie ask, do you think when they first introduce the Whispers, it will be just as dark and brutal as it was in the comics, or do you think they'll tone it down? There's really no question about it with this one. They're going to have to tone it down at least a little bit. Are we going to be seeing heads on spikes, that kind of thing? Man, I mean, that's, you know, it's a really good question after the Season 7 premiere and how people were complaining about that with the Negan kill. If I had to choose, like, the brutality of that's really bad when you see, you know, Glenn's head and he's trying to speak and the eyeballs popping out, the Popeyes joke, if you guys have heard it. It's brutal, right? It's really, really brutal. But the Whispers, I mean, you know, well, one part of the comics you have like a dozen heads on spikes. Are we going to see anything like that in the Walking Dead TV series? And how could they adapt that and have it be less brutal than the Season 7 premiere? I mean, literally, you're seeing, like, spears with heads mounted on them. I just don't see how they could do that and not tone it down in some way. Now, you're referring to when they first introduced them. We probably won't see the heads on spikes for a couple seasons, that kind of thing, if they even adapt that part. My guess is they probably have to avoid adapting it because just the brutality of it, no matter how you remix that, I don't see how you could work it in and have that make sense unless maybe you use like the skins of the people they killed and have certain people wearing it. But just the Whisperers all around, how are they going to do that if they're worried about the brutality and they want to kind of keep it, I don't want to say PG, but they want to keep it like less brutal? I really have no idea how this is going to work out. So I think the whole thing with the brutality idea, even though they have to keep advertisers happy, they have no choice if they want to keep their advertisers and they want all that to go smooth, they still have to keep their audience happy too. You know, you can't just make your advertisers happy that everything looks PG, but then have your audience be like, this is not what I want to see. I don't want to see PG. I want to see, you know, the horror. I want to see the honesty of The Walking Dead and what it's supposed to be based on the comic series. So I really hope when they bring in the Whispers, they can figure this one out. We can see some really cool zombie skins on people's faces and eyes moving underneath them. Maybe we can see a few of our survivors be used. Brutal, I know. Their faces be used for Whisperer skins. You know, something like that. It'd be super brutal, but if you don't do it that way, the group will not be as fearsome and as good of villains as they should be based on the comic series version. So we'll have to see how the TV series version of the Whisperers works out, and how they do a lot of these different parts, because if you're going to worry about brutality, the Whisperers are not a great group to do it with. You know, they're even more brutal probably than Terminus or almost any of the other villains that we've seen so far. And also the fact that they don't really use guns so much. They use knives, butcher knives, and swords and things like that a lot more. They carve things out and up, and that's brutal, man. So I don't see how you could do it without making it almost just as brutal. So we'll see what they kind of figure and where they land in that medium of, you know, PG versus, you know, the comic book and where that kind of goes. I'm hoping it's more towards the comic book version and being closer to that than it is to being PG. So keep your audience happy first, and then keep your advertisers happy after, I think. That's what I think. But you guys write your comments below. Let me know what you think about how brutal the Whisperers will be in the TV series and how much they're going to have to tone them down. The next question came in from Dominick Ambrosio, who says, "Hey Trev, like always, love your videos and keep up the great work. My question is, Being Fox hit the pause button on 24 Legacy and stopped the show for now, do you think Heath might return to The Walking Dead in Season 8 or Season 9? So for Dominic, yeah, I think if that's true, I haven't verified that because I don't watch 24 Legacy, but if what you're saying is true, then Corey Hawkins might be out of a job. So so let's hope that he is. Let's hope he's unemployed. No, just kidding. But let's hope for Heath fans that we do see him again. If that's true and he doesn't have anything else going, then I would expect we would see him back. But I don't know, his I haven't looked at his schedule recently, and if he's been working on other movies and stuff, I know he's had other stuff going on too. So it's hard to say if it was just 24 Legacy or if he had other projects too. But if he finds that his slate is completely clean, then I would expect to see him back, maybe second half, Season 8, Season 9, something like that, yeah. So that'd be cool to see him back. If not, then a skin or something, that'd be cool too. Just to let us know he's dead, Please no more Morales 2.0s. So we're talking about 8 years later. Speaking of which, Chucky B says, hey, Trev Q A, what do you think about perhaps Morales being in Fear of the Walking Dead? You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, I've given my thoughts on that quite a few times. If they had him cross over or something, they should bring him back now. The fact that people are still talking about the character 7 years later, going into Season 8, and he was been gone since Season 1, they kind of have to for fan demand, I feel like, because people just will not let this go. Zajita X1 says, Trev, I have a question. Why is it people seem to love Negan and hate Rick half the time? When I defend Rick, a large amount of people give me shit. So here's the thing, and you're a fan of Vegeta, right? So you're a fan of Vegeta, who is an anti-hero and is kind of more similar to Negan versus Goku to Rick, right? So you realize what you're saying there is kind of a thing, right? So Negan he's not even an anti-hero right now. Right now he's a straight up villain. He's in his Saiyan saga, so to speak, and he's just bashing people's heads in left and right with Lucille. He's getting ready to kill everybody, this kind of deal. But why they like him? Negan has a lot of charisma. He's really funny, and I think that he's a cool bad guy. In other words, he's a cool bad guy. He's a bad guy that he's got a nice gimmick. He's got the bat. He's got the the Fonzie look and that kind of thing. And he comes in. He's a badass. He's swinging for the fences, and he's an intimidating, scary dude that has charisma. So I think that's why Rick gets a lot of shit from people, because this is a horror series. So they have to keep the group in constant state of, what did Gimple say? Constant state of fear and something else. I forget. Recent interview. I forget the quote exactly. But something like they have to keep the group, in a state of fear and horror, living in a horror-based world, which is the Walking Dead universe. So no matter what Rick does, in one way or another, if you want to say it's kind of contrived in a way, I suppose you could, because it has to be a horror show. So Rick can't be brilliant and not make any mistakes for the show to work and be scary all the time. And also, maybe you could view it this way, is that the world that they live in is a world where even if you make no mistakes, you could still end up dead. Even if you're one of the best survivors, you could still end up, being killed, just kind of by the luck of the draw and how things are in that world. Abraham was tough as shit, and he still managed to be killed off, in both series, and he's one of the strongest survivors we've ever had in either, in terms of, physicality and everything, and his skills with firearms and everything. So even if you don't make mistakes, sometimes you could lose. So people beat up on Rick, I think, because of what happens with the group, but things kind of have to happen with the group, otherwise you couldn't have like a horror show where they're trying to survive, right? So it would make sense. So yeah, he gets crap a lot, but people just love Negan, man. Negan is quite the fan favorite for sure. So and I like Negan a lot too. Negan's really funny. He's a great character. He's one of my favorites, absolutely. Kara the Guy says, Sherri will be Daryl's future girlfriend. I'm calling it now, so I called it. So you're right, you might be the first one to call it, that Sherri and Daryl could have a relationship. I don't think it could happen if you have Dwight in there. If Dwight is in there, he and Daryl already have enough heat as it is. If Daryl steals his wife now, he's not going to be happy. But I like the idea that Daryl reminds Sherri of Dwight before Negan. So Daryl is kind of like Dwight prior, and Sherri sees him that way. So Sherri could be attracted to him because he could remind her of the best of who Dwight was. in a way. And also, he didn't succumb to the temptation and what happened with Negan to become Negan. I'm Negan, you know, that whole bit. He said, I'm Daryl, and he didn't get into the brainwashing and everything, so he opted out. And she's got to respect him for that. She helped him escape and everything. So, yeah, you know, I can see that in the future, especially if they kill Dwight off. If they have them both and Dwight just continues to be super beta, then I guess you could do that. But you got to think that he'd be pissed off every time they start, like, making out or something in front of him. Like a Negan situation, right? What can you do? Last one will be from Storm Shadow, who says, Throwback Q A, how much of a chance do you think it is that the people of the Grady Memorial Hospital were the ones that took out the Vatos? It kind of makes sense because of the location and how the cops weren't good people. Just a theory, but haven't heard you talk about it. Thanks, brother. So I've seen this online on some blogs or websites that the Grady Memorial Hospital group, a lot of people think is the one that took out the Vatos group. My interpretation was because the governor's group saved Merle, that they must have been the ones to, you know, take out the Vatos and take all their stuff. Because of the governor and everything, and they would have been in that vicinity during that same similar time frame as when, Merle was. They would have been around there at that time, and it just probably happened in the second half of season 1 that the group didn't run into them after they were looking for Merle and everything. So I like that idea. I like that theory that the governor's group ran into them later. But the one you came up with, too, makes a lot of sense as well, too, because the Grady Memorial group would have been in there in around that time frame. But were they total bad guys where they would start killing people and taking them out? I don't know. You know, we didn't get to see that much of the Grady Memorial where we got to see them, like, shooting people, killing people, you know, killing everybody. When they hit Carol and they kind of take her back, they don't kill her. They don't just kill her right then and there like what happened with the Vatos group, but the governor's group does. So I've always been under the opinion that it was the governor, you know, group that took out the Vatos that we see are dead in the deleted scenes of season 2 in its premiere. I always thought it was the Woodbury, the governor's group. I always thought it was him because that's his MO. That's what he does. So the Grady group, you could probably argue that it might fit for them too, but we didn't see that kind of, annihilation behavior where they would just go through and kill everybody. They're supposed to be cops, so they're supposed to have some of their humanity left, whereas the governor didn't have any. So if the shoe fits, I think it fits the governor better than anybody else. And he was there because he and the group saved Merle, so they would have been around there at some point, and that's what they were doing later. So to me, it fits better with the governor's group. But you guys can also write your comments below on what you think about that. So some great questions there. Do you think, could you see Sherri and Daryl together? Write in the comments below. What do you think about the Vatos group, the group from season 1 that had the elderly people, the retired people in it? And also, of course, what do you think about the Whispers and their violence, or the Whispers overall being toned down because of just by nature of who they are? So write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share. You can favorite. If you're new, hey, you're new to the channel, you haven't seen any videos yet, subscribe. Bottom left to subscribe. Appreciate it. So for this video, guys, I'll see you again soon for another. Send me those questions. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.